Hey guys, today we're going to be starting chapter 2. We're going to talk about numbers on a number line. So some words of vocab we need to talk about is natural numbers, which a natural number is any positive number above 0. So like 1, 2, 3, 4, any number above 0 that is a positive number, and it is a whole number, I should say. A whole number is a natural number. A whole number is any number including 0, does not have a fraction, does not have a decimal point. It is just a whole number. Integers can be positive or negative whole numbers. So integers are like -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, and so on. Negative numbers are numbers below 0. Rational numbers are numbers that can be expressed as a fraction. Now, that can be, we're going to change this up a little bit. Instead of it just being a fraction, it can be a fraction. It can be a decimal. Or it can be a whole number. So it can be any of those three is a rational number, a number that's a fraction, a decimal, or a whole number. Graph is when you draw or plot points on something given to you. A coordinate is a spot on that graph. Absolute value is how far a number is from 0 on a number line. That's a good thing to know because we're going to talk about that. And irrational numbers are decimals that never terminate or repeat, such as pi. So we're going to use this circle to talk about kind of how these numbers work. So really, if we're looking at rational numbers, we're going to start with something small, natural numbers. I'm just going to put nat in there. A natural number, like we talked about, is any whole number that is above 0. Okay? And then we have, after natural numbers, or whole numbers. And then after that, we have integers. And these are all examples of rational numbers, okay? And what this means is if I asked you, is 3 rational? You would look on here, 3, it's a natural number, so yes, it's rational. But 3 is also a whole number and an integer. But if I did like 1.5, 1.5 is not a natural number. It's not a whole number. 1.5 is just an integer. So that it is still rational, but it's not all 3. It's just an integer. Or like 2/3 is just an integer. An irrational number, like we talked about, would be pi or the square root of 7. It's a thing that you type in, and it's a never-ending decimal. Doesn't terminate, doesn't repeat. Okay? Now, on a number line, when you're finding coordinates, it's pretty self-explanatory. You're looking for where the dot lines up. So like here, if they wanted us to write the coordinates of this graph, they would be -5, -2, 1, and 3. If they want us to write this on here, we would have 9, because it's between -9, because between -8 and -10. We have -6, we have 2, we'd have 5, and we'd have 8. So number lines, pretty self-explanatory. You know how to work with them. We're going to talk about absolute values now a little bit. An absolute value is how far a number is from 0. And that is why when you're doing absolute values, if you've done those in the past, absolute values are always positive because it's a positive number away. Whether it's 8 spots to the left or 8 spots to the right, example shown right here. If I asked you what the absolute value, and they're going to put those lines, that absolute value of 8 was, 8 right here is 8 spots away from 0. So the absolute value of 8 is 8. Okay? But if I asked you the absolute value of -8, if you look here, -8 is still 8 spots away. So your answer, the absolute value of -8, is 8. And the absolute value of 8 is 8. So absolute values, when you solve them, always become a positive number. Now, when we're solving equations with absolute values, we got to treat it like we do with a parentheses. Like here, they're saying x is 8. So we're going to plug that in. 15 minus the absolute value of 8 plus 3. So we're going to treat this like a parenthesis, and we're going to solve it. So 15 minus the absolute value of 11 The absolute value of 11 is 11 because 11 is 11 spots away from 0. So 15 minus 11 would give us 4. Okay, let's try another one. 13 times the absolute value of 13 minus 11. So treat the absolute value like a parenthesis. We do what's inside first. So 13 times the absolute value of 2. The absolute value of 2 is 2. So 13 times 2 is going to give us 26. Okay, let's try one more. So the absolute value of 43 minus 4 times 6 plus 51. So 4 times 6 is going to give me 24. And when you solve that, you get the absolute value of 19. 19 is 19 spots away from 0. So I'm just going to go up here, 19 plus 51. So my answer here is 70. And that's it for today. Hopefully that makes sense for you guys. Hopefully this helps out. Thank you guys.